Good morning, everybody. Listen, welcome to another edition of our Endzone Club where I have a very special guest. But guys, guess what? You know I couldn't do a youth leadership series without going into the bayou and reaching down and getting an LSU guy. So today, who's my special guest today?
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Coach Orlando Gunn, representing Unbecoming Lifestyle. It's a lifestyle movement that I've started since playing ball at LSU. But just quick bio. Go Tigers. I walked on in 2006, all the way through 2010. '07 was actually my first season fully on the team. But that was a phenomenal journey, an amazing time in my life. And honestly, that was one of the times I felt the most alive as a young man in general. So Orlando Gunn here, played running back, DB, 2007 national champion, and really happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Orlando, before we get into the journey, I got to start at the genesis. Now, I got to first of all give a shout out to your parents because they were military personnel and you were an Army brat.
Cool.
And I was also an Army brat. So I want to talk about how did that military brat experience kind of like shape who you are today?
Got it. Being a military kid is tough. No lie. I mean, you're somewhere for 2 years, maybe 3 years, and then poof, on to the next stop. For me, it was kind of a put up or shut up type thing. You better make some friends. You better say hello, and don't be a recluse because this is your new stop, and you got to make the best of it. So honestly, the toughest part was just leaving some of the really good people in your life. I was trying to do Facebook before Facebook was created, right? So had a book, a bunch of names, a bunch of emails, what Air Force base we were at, what Army base we were at. I just tried to keep in touch as much as possible. So I really just I learned to value friendships, no matter where you're at, and you can make a best friend in a week's time. So it was an awesome experience, though. Got to see the rest of the world, and it really shaped my mindset that this place that I'm from isn't the only way that they do things. That there is a worldly view and a worldly aspect that you also need to be in tune with as well.
Let me ask you this, because with me being an Army brat, a lot of times people ask me, where are you from? And I have a hard time answering that because it's like a gumbo pot, just a little of everywhere. Did that help you to relate with people being from a lot of different places?
Definitely that. I can remember. That's a funny story. So on your Letterman jacket, you usually a lot of people put their state, right? Being that I was a military kid, I had 3 states on the back of my Letterman jacket. I was born in Georgia, I lived in Florida, and I lived in Texas. So I had a tri-state native on the back of my Letterman jacket, and so I had spent equal time in all these places. And so, but to be able to, tell people, I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as fast as I could. That was one thing, right? To say that you love peaches and you're from the peach state, being a Georgia native, that was awesome as well. And then I love sunshine and tropical weather, so Florida also feels like home.
Wow, it's so funny you say that because in a nutshell, that's kind of similar to my own story. I was born in Fort Stewart, Georgia. Lived there very briefly, 8 months, and then we went over to Italy, from Italy to Jersey. Jersey, parents got out the military, and then we moved down south. And somehow when I moved down south, I moved into LSU territory.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't realize how big football is until I got a chance to see Death Valley at night. What was that like?
Death Valley. There's no place like it. Every college athlete is going to tell you that that's one of their favorite stadiums to play in, and it's awing to say the least. They say it never rains in Death Valley, which is pretty awesome. But it's everything that you can imagine plus and some. Running in front of, I think at the time we were playing 97,000 fans. Everybody screaming at the top of their lungs. The seats go up and up and up and up and up. It was definitely an electric experience. So for me, as a walk-on student athlete, that means I was a student first. And so my very first game, I'm in the top of the stands. And all I can think of is, my God, I cannot wait to get on that field. Like, no matter what happens, I'm going to get on that field. I'm going to find a way. And sure enough, God blessed me with an opportunity to play, and but it was phenomenal, just electric.
Now, look, in a nutshell, let's talk about some of the hard work that you put into it, because I think a lot of times we probably overlook how much hard work in the classroom goes just to be eligible for the football side. Let's talk about that. You coming in as a walk on and earning your stripes with the team.
Um, Honestly, Pastor Mitchell, I think we forget how much hard work actually goes into our dreams. But if I can dial it all the way back, it starts in sixth grade.
Okay.
Moved from Tampa, Florida to Mannheim, Germany. Uh, I was a hefty kid, didn't have many friends, wasn't really sure what direction I was going in. And a teacher noticed me sitting in the back of the lunchroom by myself. And at this point, I had lost a pretty good nucleus of friends, so I was being I guess, more of a recluse than usual. And for 2 weeks, I sat in the same spot in the lunchroom and nobody talked to me. One day, a teacher noticed me. She brought me to her office. She asked me, "What are my plans? What are my goals?" I just said, "Well, I want to make good grades and I want to be known. I just want to be somebody." And so she put me in a program called AVID. And so AVID it stands for Advanced Via Individual Determination. And so AVID's a college readiness program that prepares your BC students and turn them into AB students. And we learn about community. We learn about actually going to college and creating careers. And so that was one of the main pillars in my life. Sports was another one, but AVID brought a lot of education and community aspect that was huge, especially that my parents had already instilled, but it was to get it on the outside of my household, which is also important. And so from that standpoint, I learned to be college focused, learn how to take notes, learn how to study, and I also realized if I wasn't an AVID student, I'm not sure I would have made it on as a walk-on student in college, because as a walk-on student, no one's holding your hand, nobody's calling you, telling you what time you need to be in class, nobody's reporting to me what is due that week. I personally had to manage everything myself. And so that, it's a lot of the hard work that had to go into it. Had to keep those grades up. The only reason I was eligible to even go to LSU is because I had a 3.5 GPA.
Wow.
Um,
Shout out. Good
and that was,
job. Good job.
but my dad instilled that when I was a kid by saying, "Don't bring anything lower than a B in this house," right?
Mm.
Now, I took ownership in sixth grade when I noticed some kids were at a pizza party because they had honor roll and I wasn't. And so that was my carrot at the time. Why am I not in that room? Right? Why am I not being celebrated? Well, this is what you have to do. And so a lot of people, you got to find your internal or indomitable spirit, figure out what really moves you, what do you really want, and kind of go after it. And that's what I did. So that was the foundation. One, having just academic counselors, academic teachers, but having some people hold you accountable academically, which is huge.
I'm listening to your story and I'm getting so many different takeaways because, whereas we're gearing this towards a certain demographic, what you're saying applies to everybody, because leadership starts with a foundation. And I'm glad that you had a father that was able to really speak that, but also you're speaking to those who are falling to the crack. You're giving them kind of like a sense of standard. But one thing I like about that foundation you got is, even playing football, you got a chance to experience, to me, the best program in the world in LSU. Saw what championship teams look like, saw the building blocks,
Right.
but you were so much more than a football player.
Yes, sir. I think that's a personal thing. I would tell myself, I'm not just a football player. This is something I do. And what happened was I'd go to a lot of different events or hang out with some friends of mine. We go to a party or we go to a social event, and they say, "Hey, this is my friend Orlando. He plays football at LSU." And everywhere I went, that was my introduction. I started to notice, I was like, I'm not just a football player. It's just something I do, because everybody's days are numbered. There's going to be a day you're going to have to hang up the cleats, whether we want to or not. We all can't be Tom Brady and Drew Brees, right? So at that point, I had to just come to a realization myself that I'm going to build a well-rounded itself. Well-rounded opportunities, and put my eggs in different baskets. Period. Because I've seen multiple people get cut from teams. I've seen people go to the league, air quotes, make it to the league, and then they get hurt week 1, 2, 3, 4 preseason, and it's over. I've seen people at LSU be the best player that we've ever seen. They're highly touted, about to be drafted number 1. The night before the draft, they're in a horrific car accident. Right, it's happened once or twice. Shout out to Demetrius Bird and my boy Chad Jones. These are two guys who are gonna be the greatest, and they just had some really unfortunate events take place. And to be that close, man, my heart goes out to them and other people like that. Because as kids, we fantasize about this dream of quote unquote making it. We want to pay our parents back. We want to, live big, live a good life. But at the same time, just breathing is your grandest opportunity. God gave us the sun, and that's all we need. And so for us to throw on all these man-made dreams and pressures, that's really unfortunate. And we actually miss what life is really all about. So that's why I want to always remember that I'm more than just a football player, more than an athlete, right? More than just shut up and dribble. So I'm glad, guys like LeBron started movements like that.
Wow, man, I wish we had more time than what we had, because you've really kind of struck at the vein of a lot of things that I'm passionate about. But, one thing I like about you, talking about being more than a football player, you had academic success 2018, you were all SEC with the honor roll. 2010, you won the Male Athlete Scholar of the Year, or Student Athlete Volunteer of the Year. I think it speaks a lot about a man's character and leadership when he is in this bubble as a football player,
right?
But he's more involved with the community around them. From that point, from winning that award, what are some things that you've done in the community before we get out of here?
Some of the most awesome things is really to go to schools, talk to elementary students, talk to middle school students about their health and nutrition. Also talk about their academic success and prepare them for those standardized exams. Many tests may not be very fair, but neither is the rest of the world. So this is the game that we're in. So let's do the best that we can to win. And so that's been my whole motto. Just try to prepare other students and student athletes for an opportunity to win. Just give them the best chance to be successful. So talking to those schools was excellent. When I was at the NCAA, we got to put together some community events as well, where we did flag football games and flag football days like that. But even further on, I was able to pay it forward. Being an Avid student, when I got my first job with the Miami Dolphins, I created a Avid NFL Day. And so all the kids that were in an Avid program in the state of Florida, I brought to an NFL game and gave my personal story, personal speech. We did a networking event. It was about 750 teachers, kids, and parents. And that was one of the most things I'm really proud of, is to have that opportunity to tell them, hey, you don't have to be a ball player. It's just an avenue. There's hundreds of people that work on the outside of the football field that we don't even pay attention to. And so that was phenomenal to get them to understand that they can start here, but you don't have to finish here. The finish line isn't the playing field. That's just the beginning. So when everybody laces up their cleats, just understand, I'm going to ball out, I'm going to have fun, and we're going to see where this thing goes. So as a walk-on student athlete, I had to play the best cards that I was dealt and go from there.
Well, it sounds like you played those cards well. Wish you Godspeed in everything you're doing. I didn't think we were going to run through 14 minutes of conversation, but it just makes me feel like there's more things to be talked about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But anyway, brother, I thank you for your time. We will converse very shortly. But guys, you guys make sure that you tune in every week to these conversations we're having, where we're highlighting leaders that are sharing their stories that are going to propel you from potential to purpose. Make sure you guys tune in. Until next week, be blessed.